Whatever you do in the next 24 hours after you watch this video is going to determine how your life goes and how your path of success is paved. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by your path of success will be paved? You choose your path of success. You choose how your life ends up. There's nobody else that's going to be choosing besides God. There's nobody else that's choosing how your life is going to go, what you're going to do with your life, and anything else, any other excuse that you could have in your mind. You are the only person who's actually going to decide what happens in your life and where you go and what that direction is. So you got to actually decide what you want to do with your life. You got to actually decide if you want to make it worth something, or if you just want to continue to waste your time on doing a bunch of nonsense bullshit and hanging out with a bunch of people that really don't care about you, that you really don't even care about that much, but you're still wasting time going out and partying with them, or just going out to hang out with them, or doing whatever. Like, you got to finally decide when you're going to wake up and choose a better path in life. And if you don't choose that within the next 24 hours after watching this video, there's a good chance that you're never going to do that. And it's not specifically because you're watching my video, but it's because if somebody is calling you to action and you really truly feel it, you really truly feel what I am telling you, and you're not going to do anything about it, even though you still feel it, you're not ever going to do anything about it because you're not willing to take action. You have to be willing to take the action. And even if you say, oh, but I am doing things, I am going to the gym, I am starting to get up earlier, I am starting to eat healthier. No. Bro, you've got it wrong. That stuff's great. And I'm glad that you're starting to get more consistent in the gym. I'm glad that you're starting to actually finally eat a little bit better. I'm glad you're trying to get your sleep improved. I'm glad you're trying to be nice to people. I'm glad you're trying to put yourself in more uncomfortable situations. But the problem is you're not actually trying. You're just doing maybe one thing a week, one thing a month. You're putting yourself in an uncomfortable position once every 3 months, and then you're telling yourself that, oh, but at least I did something. No, bro. That's not how it works, dude. You have to constantly put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You have to constantly push yourself every single day. If you're not doing it every single day, you're not going to build up that mental fortitude that you need in order to break through that wall. You're never going to break through the atmosphere unless you just do it over and over and over again and go with enough speed and enough force to actually break through and make it work. Each time when you go out and you're like, oh yeah, I did something today. I went out and I talked to that girl, or I went to the gym when I normally wouldn't have today. That was great, but then when you don't do it again the next day or the next week when you were supposed to, you erase that progress that you made because you lost that momentum. You need this momentum to keep on going further and further and further. And if you don't have that momentum, you're gonna die out. And the reason you feel like you're in this constant cycle of burnout is because you're losing your momentum over and over and over again. And if you would just keep pushing harder and harder, even when it burns, dude, even when you don't want to get out of bed, even when your whole body burns, even when you're nauseous when you first wake up. Dude, when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I am so nauseous. And the only thing I want to do is lay back in bed. But what do? I don't do that. I'll go and I'll sit in my chair for a second, let it fade for about a minute, and then I say, okay, we got to get up, we got to go, we got to make this work. I don't lay back down and go back to bed because I feel sick. I get up and push through it, and I end up feeling good towards the end of it. I end up feeling good after that I actually did it and I actually did something with my morning because I know I'm growing my mind. I know I'm growing my body. How am I growing my body? By pushing through the nausea, because like I said a second ago, I'm growing my mind. And if I can grow my mind, I'm going to push harder in the gym. Therefore, I'm going to grow more because I'm going to stimulate more growth. But if you're not constantly training your mind, because your mind is a muscle, then you're not going to make the growth that you need in order to actually have that change, okay? It doesn't matter how long you are into your journey. You could be a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, even a couple of years. You still have improvement that you can make each and every single day. You still have things you could be doing that you could be improving on. I still have things that I can be doing and improving to better myself. And I am constantly doing things every single day to improve myself and to become the best version of myself. This change does not happen overnight. You don't just like instantly become this person that's ultra confident, isn't insecure, fucking just goes to the gym whenever they need to, pushes through their sets, doesn't touch their phone no matter what. It is difficult, and you have to instill it in your brain by beating into it over and over and over again. And I wasn't able to actually instill this shit into my brain until I beat it into myself over and over again. And even when for months I just felt like I was dragging my ass, dude, for me it was years that I felt like I was dragging my ass. I just kept on pushing through because I said, if I give up, I know for a fact I'm going to regret it. I know for a fact I'm going to beat myself up. If I stop and then look back and be like, dude, if I would have just pushed through for another year, I'd be so much further and I wouldn't be in this position. Because I had done that in the past. I had just given up and not tried to continue to push through. And what happened when I didn't try to continue to push through? I regretted it. I regretted it more than I had regretted anything in my life. The only thing I don't regret about it is that I had learned a lesson, okay? But you don't have to have these year-long regrets in order to learn a lesson. All you have to do is hear somebody else tell you so that you can learn the lesson. Now, some of you guys might need to have that extreme regret. Some of you guys just might need to really feel it for a year or two and really suffer, and then wake up one day and be like, dude, I screwed up. I should have not given up a year ago. I should have listened to Kieran when he was telling me to actually lock in, but I didn't, and I wasted my time. And some people, it really takes that, but it shouldn't have to. All you should have to do is just listen and be like, you know what, dude, you're right. I got to clean my act up and I got to actually make it work. Because that's all you can do. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody's coming to try to fix all your problems. Nobody wants to help you. You have to do it for yourself. If you aren't doing it for yourself, you're not going to be able to pull yourself up. And there are going to be times where you don't want to do it for yourself. And maybe you'll have to remind yourself, oh, you know, I'm doing it for my future family. I'm doing it for my future self. Maybe not your current self, because maybe you don't love your current self. But you're doing it for your future self. You're doing it for your past self. And through doing that, you're going to learn to love yourself, because you're going to learn to appreciate the hard work that you do. And the more you do the hard work, the more you're going to realize that you can do the hard work, and you're going to start to have this self-love. Okay? And if you're trying to find relationships and you're trying to find a girlfriend, trying to find a partner, whatever it may be, you know, boyfriend, whatever your thing is, you're never going to be able to love them unless you love yourself. And unless you can push yourself, it's never going to work out. So stop trying to waste all your time finding a relationship, finding all these connections, if you don't really care about yourself and you don't truly know who you are. And you might not have to truly exactly know who you are and feel like you 100% are confident in yourself. But if you at least know on a surface level that you're a hard worker, that's disciplined and that doesn't give up, that's going to completely change your life for something that you can never even imagine. You can never imagine how much just knowing that you are never going to get up is going to change your life. It's going to light a fire inside you that no matter what will make you have that self-love and that self-confidence that you can do something and you can figure it out. Because it's not just about knowing how to do it, but it's about doing it when you feel like you can't do it. Doing it when you feel like you don't understand, but you're gonna still figure it out. And if you can figure it out when you don't understand, if you really can, you can overcome anything in your mind. But it's all a big mind game. It is all a big mind game. The only way to get through it is if you conquer your mind. I'm repeating this, yes, over and over and over, and I sound like a broken record. Dude, that is the point. I want you to really understand it, because if I don't say it over and over again, you're not going to be reminded and you're not going to remember it, okay? Because I'm really trying to get this into your head so you can understand the point that I'm making. And the point that I'm making is it's all in your head. All your struggles, everything that's difficult, yes, it's real. Yes, you went through that hard shit. So did I when I was younger, feeling lost, feeling hopeless, wanting to end it all, attempting to end it all. But it was still all in my head. As real as it was all in my head. And the reason I know it's all in my head is because as soon as I pushed past through it in my mind, it went away. But I wasn't able to push through it until I learned what my problems were. I had to study who I was. I had to look at all my problems. I had to look at my insecurities, have long hour thinking sessions in my room in the dark, and just think about, how did I get here? You know, what are my values? Who am I really? Like, what do I actually care about? What do I actually want to do with my life? How can I help others accomplish their goals? How can I help them accomplish the same goals that I have? And I realized, I was like, well, I can never do any of those things. I can never help people like I want to unless I overcome the problems myself. So I had to overcome the problems myself so that I can help people like you overcome the problems as well. And that's how you can pass it forward, is by learning how to overcome your problems and then helping others overcome the same problems. Because I promise it will work out. No matter what you say, no matter what you think, it's going to work out and you're going to figure it out. You just have to keep on pushing over and over and over. But if you give up, if you lose that momentum, what's the point, dude? What's the point? And there's going to be times where you fail. There's going to be times where you fall. But if you can pick yourself back up over and over again, that is still momentum. Because you're building up the momentum of teaching yourself that you can still get up every time you fall down. And you're going to get to a position in life that I got to, where even though I felt like I was getting beat down left and right over and over and over again in life, I realized that, you know what? No matter what happens, no matter how many times I fall, how many times I fail, I can still pick myself back up, and I know I'm going to get right back on track as long as I lock in on my habits. As long as I reconquer my mind, I know I'm going to pick myself back up, and I know I'm going to continue to make progress. And within that, you are still having momentum even when you fall down, even when you break. That is not an excuse to break. If you give yourself excuses to break, that's different. But when shit hits the fan and you fall down and you collapse, you know that you can pick yourself back up. And when you do fall down, it's a reflection point. And you realize there's something I'm doing wrong in life. There's somebody that I'm screwing over. There's something I'm not being truthful about, whether that's to others or to myself, that's causing me to fall down. There's something that I am bearing inside myself that I don't feel is true, that's causing me to get dragged down over and over again. You have some sort of limiting belief that's causing you to constantly fall off. You're getting imposter syndrome, you know, that's what it could be. That's something that was for me. I would fall off from imposter syndrome. Okay, imposter syndrome can come from a whole lot of things. It can come from, the biggest one is that you're not actually doing what you're telling yourself you're doing. And that's what I was doing. I was telling myself that I was being consistent in the gym, that I was eating right, that I was this, that I was that. But I was really only doing it half of the week, and the other half I was still slacking off and not doing things. Therefore, I knew I was doing it, like I knew I was improving myself, I knew I was really working hard, but since I was spending other times where I wasn't and I was still slacking off, those two colliding factors were fighting each other for my mental state. And they were fighting each other, and one was saying, oh no, but Kieran, you are this really hard worker. And the other one saying, no, you're not. You're a lazy slob and a lazy piece of shit. And I didn't know what one was right, and it gave me this imposter syndrome. So what did I have to do? I had to have a real talk with myself, and I had to actually think, okay, why am I feeling like this? It's because on the weekends, I'm not going to bed when I should, I'm slacking off, I'm still doing this, still doing that, eating like shit, and it's diminishing my progress during the week. and it's reigniting that imposter syndrome. I got rid of those bad habits, and the imposter syndrome went away, because the only thing that was true is that I was a hard worker, that was consistent, that could do what he said he did. But when I said I would do things, when I was lying to myself that I wasn't really doing, not lying to others, but lying to myself, I didn't feel right, because I was having an imposter syndrome. And that was dragging me down and holding me back from making any progress. And I had to have an ego check with myself. I had to give myself an ego death and realize that I was wrong. And that in order to make it work, I actually have to do what I'm saying to do. I have to actually do what I'm telling other people to do. Or else who am I? Who does that make me to tell you all of this, but to still be a lazy fuck that's still going and jerking off, staying up late, not going to bed when I should, not getting up when I should, not eating what I should, not working out when I should be? Who am I to say this if I'm still doing all those things? That would make me nobody, and I would feel like shit about myself. And I did feel like shit about myself until I actually started doing them. And until I actually started paying attention and locking in. And a little trick for you guys, a hack that I recently implemented that changed things tenfold and made it so much easier and made my resistance so much lower, was making a Google Calendar. I set up a Google Calendar that has like time blocks for work time, sleep time, gym time, all kinds of stuff like that. And I follow the Google Calendar. And if I go to the gym, I'm like, okay, it's this time, gotta go to the gym. I go to the gym this time, have to leave. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm building up this consistency in myself to get better time management. And you're going to eventually get to the point where you don't need the strict Google Calendar, because you just know, oh, 1 o'clock's coming around, I got to go to the gym, get the workout done, go, and then I can keep working, keep doing what I need to do, or do something that I want to do if that's the kind of day that it is. But you gotta spend some time. It might take a month, it might take 3 months, it might take 6 months, it could take a year. But you're gonna have to spend some time compounding those wins and compounding that discipline in yourself to lock in on your time management, so that in the future you can have the time management without the calendar. You're still gonna wanna use a calendar for work stuff and stuff like that, but it won't have to be so tight-knitted. And that's going to give you a whole lot more relaxation as well. But don't feel like life needs to be stressful just because, oh, now I have to confide to this calendar. You're confiding to the calendar because you want a better life, because you want to improve your life. You're not connecting to the calendar because you wanted a shittier, more difficult life that wasn't going to lead you anywhere. You're doing it because you know it's going to lead you somewhere. So if you just push harder and stop making excuses with yourself, dude, you're gonna make all the difference in the world, and you're gonna accomplish something greater than you ever could have imagined that you could accomplish. And I want to see you guys accomplish something greater than you ever could have imagined. It's not that hard. All you have to do is just start. It's a lot more difficult to live a suffering life. So wake up, go to work, suffer, go home, live that death cycle, sit in traffic every day. Dude, that is so much harder and so much more painful than just turning up the intensity for 3 months, 6 months, a year to build something of yourself, to build this foundation, to build something greater inside of yourself. It's so much worth it, and it's honestly so much easier, and it's so much easier in the long run. But if you don't make the change within the next 24 hours, you're probably never going to make the change. And as you guys know, I say this in most of my videos. I post daily over on my Instagram. my stories, I'm always ripping. You can see I'm up in the morning, every single morning. I'm doing my morning push-ups, morning journaling. I posted up on the story. If you really don't believe me, you can go see it there. I think a morning routine is something that I definitely encourage you guys to be in with. That's probably the first step that I would start with. And I'm not going to say probably that is the first step I would start with, is start with a morning routine. When you wake up tomorrow morning, I want you to take a cold shower in the morning, make your bed, and drop down and do 25 to 50 push-ups. You're not doing the push-ups for muscle growth. You're doing them because of what they do for your mind. You're pushing your mind past doing something that you don't want to do. And that just unlocks your day for so much success and so much growth. And if you can conquer your mind the second you wake up, it changes the trajectory of your whole day. Just like how you can conquer your mind right now, it's going to change the trajectory of your entire life. It's the same thing on a smaller scale. You need to realize that. You need to realize that. Other than that, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Let's crush it.